Hey everybody, I am so excited to get to be interviewing Katherine Duminoir today. A lot of you guys have been watching her on LinkedIn. So I was telling her just a few minutes ago that a couple days ago I was scoping out her profile because she writes really interesting things on LinkedIn, and I see 16,000 followers. 16,000 followers. Who even gets that many and how? And so I'm hoping she'll share us, a few secrets today. So today I'm looking her up again just to make sure that I know her background and kind of where she's worked. And I see 17,000 followers. So she's got another like few hundred just from the other day. Her and I have 550 mutual connections, which is fascinating because we don't know each other. She worked at my kids' school a few years ago, came from the University of Arkansas, moved up to Washington, worked for huge corporations like Enterprise, Target, Amazon. She left Amazon, and that's kind of where today's story sits. So everyone on LinkedIn's been kind of following and watching and seeing where she's going to go. And she's been posting all these really fun recaps of like, well, hey, I had an interview today and this is what happened. And then, 500 people will comment on it. So today she's going to announce where she's going and what she's going to be doing. But before then, Katherine, I'd love to just get some feedback from you. Maybe tell everybody, how did you get to where you are today? And how do you even get 16,000 followers? And what are you doing that's so interesting that everybody wants to just be in your life?
For complete transparency, I don't think I have, the 5 steps to 16,000 LinkedIn followers. But when I was working over at Amazon, my senior manager, he came from LinkedIn originally and kind of started talking about the platform and how you could use it to connect to individuals and students. I kind of wanted to just explore the platform. So originally my LinkedIn was private. It was just for the people that I knew. I never accepted anyone who I didn't know. And then after a while, I realized, you know what, I'm doing university recruiting for Amazon. I want to connect with students. I want to see what they're working on. So I started just accepting people who wanted to follow me. And then from there, I realized I have all these connections, but I don't know these people. So how can I get to know some of these people? I posted a post saying that I wanted to have coffee chats with people in the Seattle area. If they were interested, just message me why, tell me your story, and we can connect in person. And I woke up the next morning to 100 likes or so on that post. And originally I was just posting things about me volunteering in the community. I didn't have a lot of followers and people really wanting to meet me or anything. So it really came to me as a shock. But the more people that I started actually meeting in person and sharing their stories, and the more people that I started helping land roles within Amazon, that's kind of how that user base grew. And then from there, I was a contractor. I think people were just interested in seeing, after Amazon, like, where am I going next? What am I doing? So I think that's kind of what drew everyone in.
Yeah, we thought that I know personally, I thought it was interesting because you were like, I'm leaving Amazon. Like, it wasn't that Amazon kicked you out. You were like, I'm leaving and I'm going to go figure out whatever is next in my life. And I think that was really an interesting approach. And I love that you talk about your LinkedIn account being private. That was only like a couple years ago that we all had private accounts, and LinkedIn, I remember the security was so tight. And like, if somebody ever posted or clicked the button that said like, I don't know this person and I don't know why they're trying to connect with me, it would almost shut your account down. Like, it was ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Every now and then I still get notes from people in private messages like, I'm sorry, do I know you? Why are you trying to connect with me? You want to talk about that at all and how crazy of an approach that is? Why would you not want to be connected with everybody?
Yeah. So for me, I think I'll connect with anybody, but the individuals that I choose to meet with and the individuals that I converse with are ones that reach out and really either they're able to correlate, like we have something in common, or they read one of my posts, or they're really interested in something I'm interested in. So really that's how, even though we started off as strangers, like, I've been able to connect with individuals through LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned working for Amazon. I know personally, I do business with Amazon. We have about 20 clients that we represent into Amazon. And it seems to be kind of this burning curiosity that people have. Can you give us a little bit of scoop of what it was like to work for Amazon?
Yeah. So, I mean, coming out of college, I was mesmerized by Amazon. It was the dream for me, but I didn't have a lot of internship experience. So, my whole goal in moving out to Seattle was how am I going to get to Amazon? How am I going to navigate through that? I held the company up on a really big pedestal. And when
Hmm.
I got there, Amazon is amazing. Like the team I worked on, truly, the university team, everyone on there is wonderful, and we're all really close. And but it's really fast paced. You're constantly working on different projects. I think the difference between some of the roles that I had prior was this was my first corporate job. This was my first. I came from a retail background. I came from selling insurance in the rain to having my own desk and using Excel and SharePoint and different databases that I hadn't used before. And so it was a really fast-paced environment. I was a contractor though, so
Hmm.
I didn't leave Amazon out of oh, I'm leaving Amazon. I started off with a 3-month contract on the university team, and it got extended to a 9-month contract. And university recruiting is kind of cyclical in that the fall season is where we do a lot of our hiring. And so after the fall season, it slows down. And so my contract came to an end along with some others on my team. And that's when I really started thinking about, where is my next move?
Awesome. Okay, well, we're inching closer and closer to the big reveal of where you're going. I want to bring up something just from the other day, that a post that you'd made on LinkedIn that was incredibly popular, went viral, had 500 plus people commenting on it. You mentioned a recent interview that you had, I think just even within the last week, and how it was really different from other interviews that you've conducted. Coming from the hiring world, I'm sure you're used to a certain type of interviewing. And this one really kind of not shook you up, but made you curious about maybe the way that we do interviewing today. Do you want to talk about that, kind of recount it a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I really didn't expect the responses that I received or the number of views. I probably would have used a better adjective than cool, but it really truly was an awesome interview. So coming from recruiting, I hosted webinars for Amazon candidates, kind of just helping to prep them and relax them for their interviews. We do a lot of behavioral-based questions, things that correlate back to leadership principles, and it's just a really stressful process. And so
Hmm.
I always wanted to be that person to kind of calm the candidate down, reassure people that they're going to be okay through this process. And so being on the other end interviewing, I was nervous. And so I was looking at 3 companies. I could talk a little bit more in depth. There are certain things that I look for in companies, but the company I interviewed with that I posted about was booking.com. And it was a company that I had learned about them while I was at Enterprise. A lot of their employees were my customers, and so I love traveling. But yeah, the interview was unlike anything I expected. I showed up in a blazer, and even though it is a laid back company, I showed up in my slacks and my blazer, and I was ready to answer any kind of questions they were going to throw at me. And I was immediately greeted by someone in the lobby with hot chocolate. It wasn't the front desk lady; it was just a random coworker came up and was like, "Do you want some hot chocolate?" I was like, "Sure." So I had hot chocolate. I was sitting there, and 2 women came out and really just greeted me they were laughing and kind of joking amongst each other, and really just made me feel at ease. We proceeded to walk around and kind of see the other coworkers and what they were working on, the workspace. And then I was taken into a room where they had my resume, but they didn't have any questions. They didn't have any questions they were reading off of a computer. There were no behavioral based questions. Instead, my interviewer started talking about just kind of her career path, some challenges she experienced. And through that, like I started sharing challenges I experienced and scenarios that I went through at different companies. And it was just a better approach for me because she got to really see who I was, what experiences I've had, projects I've worked on, pretty much everything you would want to know to see if someone would be a cultural fit and if they were, had the skills that you were looking for without that nerve-wracking interview feel, I guess. So once I left, I went in for the handshake at the end, and they were like, told me they were huggers. They wanted to hug and said, you're welcome here. Look for the offer in your email. And then I left just feeling really happy and really excited. And I wanted to share on LinkedIn my experience because I feel like there's so much negativity around interviewing and, not having a job or looking for a job. So I wanted to kind of inspire other people, kind of share my experience, and then hopefully encourage other companies and other people to consider maybe skip those behavioral-based questions and have a conversation with someone.
So while you were talking, two things came to mind. The first one for me was my first interview with Walmart back in 2005 was exactly the way that you're talking about. Not that it wasn't behavioral, but the dress. So I remember coming on a Friday to interview. I had on my best suit, jacket, and pants, like red lipstick, hair perfect. And I start walking into the Walmart home office, and I'm looking around, and everyone has jeans on, and I like t-shirts, and I'm completely mortified. I am so overdressed. I'm not going to get this job. They're going to think I'm so stuffy. And so the first question I asked the interviewer was like, oh my God, did I miss the memo? Am I supposed to be wearing jeans? What happened? And I just felt so embarrassed. So maybe that's one thing that, that we could say to people that are interviewing other people is maybe like set the tone for the dress code before your interviewee comes in, so that you don't have that awkward moment of, Katherine, you had someone with like a hoodie and tattoos or whatever you were saying in your LinkedIn post. And I walked in and the entire, 20,000 people working at Walmart had on jeans and a t-shirt. That's never a good feeling. You kind of feel awkward at first. And then the second thing that I was thinking from your experience is that's really a feminine driven way to do an interview. And I think that that's really beautiful. I mean, you don't think about that being feminine, but just from the way that they greeted you in the lobby and they offered you hot cocoa and then they walked you around so that you could get to really, touch and feel everybody and feel welcome. And then just the interview style itself, I think was really neat. That's neat that we're seeing this shift from this male dominance, very testosterone driven way of doing an interview to more of the feminine nature, which obviously worked really well for you. So thanks for sharing your experience. That's really neat.
Yeah, of course. And I definitely do see a lot of the comments I received. A lot of the men were like, I've never hugged in an interview and I would never hug somebody. And even my dad was like, I've never received a hug in an interview. And I was like, maybe you need one. Like, maybe, no, but no, it was, I do agree in this day and age, you do see a lot of different lawsuits and things, and you definitely should be careful in interviewing and even just in your interactions on a daily basis. But for me, it was a refreshing experience. As far as dress, that's something that at Amazon, everyone is super laid back. Something I really love is that you can wear whatever you want. So whatever your style is, whether it's jeans or you want to dress up, it's totally accepted. But there is some kind of discrepancy in interviewing, like what should I wear? Should I wear slacks? Should I wear a tie? And so I always encouraged candidates to wear what you're comfortable in. So if you are going to show up every day in jeans and you feel comfortable in jeans and you can be your best self, wear those. And if you feel like you need to wear slacks, definitely do that as well. So I would usually steer people away from wearing suit jackets or ties or anything too formal, but definitely just kind of gauge, what's appropriate and what you think is the best fit. So I did end up wearing a very casual blazer, even to a couple of the other interviews I went to. But at the same time, it's whatever you're comfortable in.
I love that. Thanks. Good feedback. Okay. I'm sure everybody is dying to know where you decided to end up. So I think it's time for us to wrap this up. And why don't you make your big announcement, Katherine? Where have you decided to go into your next journey career-wise?
Yeah, so I'm going to be moving into a similar role. So I'm going to be a recruiting coordinator. It's the logistics side of recruiting, helping candidates with their scheduling and kind of being there to prepare them for their interviews at Facebook, which I'm very excited about. So there are 3 companies that really came down to for me, and it was Facebook, REI, and Booking.com. All 3 really centered around things that I am passionate about. So for Booking, I really love traveling. For REI, I'm really big into the outdoors, probably see more bears in my life than anyone ever should. And then Facebook, a lot of people think of Facebook as just the social media website, but I really got to learn a little bit more about the humanitarian initiatives they're doing. And that's what really drew me in. I'm really interested in where they're going to go with virtual reality, artificial intelligence. They do have the largest user base, so that's pretty exciting. The company, just kind of where the company is going is what's exciting me, and being able to create opportunities for people to come and be a part of the Facebook family is what I'm most excited about.
Awesome. Well, you have done such an amazing job. Clearly, you're young. It looks like you're a millennial. So proud of you, Katherine. I don't even know you, and I just want to give you a giant hug of encouragement, excitement. So here's again her career so far, folks. Enterprise, Target, Amazon, and now Facebook. I mean, some of us go our entire careers, our entire lives, and try to even get into one of those places. And Katherine has already quickly climbed the ladder into some very incredible companies. So we wish you all the best. Keep us posted. Please stay active on LinkedIn. Let us know all about what's going on. And we'll continue to watch you as you grow.
Yeah, thank you so much. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'm excited for this journey.
Absolutely. All right. Bye, girl.
Thanks. Bye.